Hello guys, welcome to my channel. It's Ghada Samir. I would like today to introduce to you how to use Google Charts with database dynamically in ASP.NET Core. I always begin by the end of a project so that if it suits your needs, we can go further for more details. Here I displayed the chart of orders of a customer. It is a bar chart, and I can switch to the pie one. I can also filter the chart through a certain customer ID. Here it is pie 1 and display the chart, the pie 1. I can filter with any of the names here. Of course it's meaningless for a pie, but for a bar it may be of benefit. So if that suits your need, we can also go through a stacked chart as well. We can proceed further. Let us go for some details. Begin with the database. I think it's better. I used a view that I created that retrieves the customer ID and order ID and shipper ID from three tables, which are customers, orders, shippers. Relation between customers and orders is one-to-many, and between customers and shippers is also one-to-many. Here I display the string customer with the count of order and shipper, so that I can generate a bar chart or a stacked chart. It is meaningless, as I said before, for a pie chart, because for a pie or column chart I will only need enough for the string and the count. Now I'd like the view is better in order to work with it than the link expression. I like it better. I can write sophisticated or more complex SQL in SQL than in link. And by the way, it is also benefit to use views in the new versions of the core. It is a chance to see how we can use it. Then I make scaffolding so as to retrieve the classes of tables in the models, and of course this scaffolding will contain my view, which consists, as we told before, customer ID, order count, and ship count. I would like to go through a quick tour about the main issues in the project. By the way, the project, the link is below the video. You can download it, and it has all the steps I will say now. A startup is in its simple form, where it has some cookies, settings, and authentication and connection, which is in JSON. You change your connection according to yours also, and the Northwind database is included also in the material. Here I introduced JSON, add new Newton soft JSON, and using serialized setting dot contract resolver. So I should have Newton soft dot JSON serialized settings in the startup, defined here by using my new soft JSON.serialization, because I will transfer the data using JSON serialization. That is a point I'd like to highlight. Then comes with the layout. Layout has nothing special. It is a sidebar where it has CSS for Bootstrap and the simple sidebar as we see here, and then render body and JavaScript by the end for Jquery.min and Bootstrap.bundle, which are the most common we use, and toggle for the menu to close and open. What is here important is that the link I use here for the index in the controller home, once ID equal 1 for the bar chart and once ID equal 2 for the pie chart. These are the links found on the left sidebar menu. I think we can begin by now for the index, which is rendered in the layout and which contains my main core view. As you see here, I start by model, which is input view model. If we open this view, it contains more than one text, which is my input form that contains the customer. I preferred to include a form so as most our real usage will include a form to filter with certain criteria. And the graph will be rendered as partial view, as we will see. Here my form is input view model. It has some fields defined. What is meant for me is customer V. Only one field I will use, but we can use more. Here is the index, the form. It has method post and action, cast order, and home. We will use prevent defaults, as we will all our execution will be through Ajax. So this is only layout for the form. It has input, it has label, it has input, and I disable if you want to use it as a drop down or something like that, a field for imp num, any field as customer, for example, if you want to make it a drop down list. And validation for the customer V. Then comes the button to submit the form. Then comes the partial view where I will render my graph in. As you see here, there is chart type. If equal 1 or null or double quotation, it will go to certain partial, or else it will go to another. First one is a bar chart, the second is a pie chart. Where is chart type defined? It is defined by the beginning here of the form of views array as variable chart type comes view data of parameter 1 dot to string. Parameter 1 comes from the controller, as we will see. So here I have chart type, which I can ask about in the index to direct my partial view that I need to where I want. If we see view of graph partial here, one of ID graph ID and bar 1, data value bar 1. The other one, which is same name but includes pie at the end, other view, will have here pie 1 and graph ID also. Okay. After rendering my partial, sorry, this is layout, we are in index now. After rendering the partial view, till now I know that each of what I say are disconnected. They will be connected when I execute the JavaScript and the controller code. But this is only a quick look about what is written in the view. Then comes the script that will initialize the graph and make the process for me. The script, as we see, it has jQuery.min and a link to JS API. This is concerned with Google, and this link should be written in the main page in the index. I couldn't write it in the partial view. Partial view will not know Google. It will say that it is undefined. So the main page where I run the code should have this link written in, or else an error will be generated. Then comes google.load visualization of one package score chart. By the way, also JS API or another link can be used at the beginning here. I disabled it. gstatic charts loader.js, either will work for us. Okay, then we load the Google package of core chart, and $document.ready will execute function which is init chart on loading. It is the same function that I will execute when running the button, as we will see. On button click we will execute this also. So this init chart will be executed at the beginning and when we press the button, as we will see. DGL source is customer v, and it will take its value in parameter and variable I. I try to make it this way because we can have more than one parameter, where we can in data put I, j, k, and so on as string of items. Ajax here, if I press F9, see it will go to the root directory where we can make Ajax call and to go to get data. Get data, as we see here, items will be 0, string of 1, because the array contains only one element, which is I. Then it will loop. I intended to make it that way so that if we have more than one parameter, I can get them easily. Then we write the SQL, which is coming from the view v customer orders. Then I will make a list to filter v customer orders dot from SQL1 to list. This is the way we retrieve from SQL. Then variable list, new list of the customers, then result equal new JSON result of the list. If you have a look here, you will find that the controller will return JSON result, which we initialized at the beginning in the startup. Sorry for that. This is because I press F11. If we see the list here, this is the new list, but customer orders list should contain the records we retrieved from the view, which are, I think they are 88. Of course, we can't display all the 88. I meant to make it that way so as to be more general. We can retrieve whatever records we have in the database to be more general. Then I will take the first 10 only to be more obvious in the display, and return the list of JSON order list. Okay. It displayed bar 1, then we'll display the chart. Let us go to the index, because there is no highlight on the steps shown clearly in the JavaScript here. When we return with the model or the list, it is the response function coming from getData. It has success, and we say that on success function response that contains the list. We set the options of a chart, and then say get google.set onload callback function draw graph. We should here call from a function, or if we write a code it will give an error. We should call draw graph through a function which has response as a list, and options and graph ID is the element where we will put our graph. Let us see draw graph. It will accept variables data values, which represents my list, options, and element ID, which represents the div of graph ID. Variable data equal new google.visualization.datatable, and then variable data, I write it twice, but one is enough. The second one is better because we define the header, which is customer and their type. Customer ID first should be string, so not written. The others should be the same type. If they are not the same type, it will give an error also. They say that the access should have the same type. Order count and ship count, these are numbers, because for every customer I will divide between or compare between both order count and ship count. Here comes another issue, which is the processing. I made it dynamic. We could display, as I read by the previous 1.5, 20, 50 for data. This is a way we can have the model defined for each value, or retrieving these values as an array. There's a way for that, and write it, however, 10 records, 5 records, but I didn't like this way. I like it to be dynamic, so the processing here is the better way for being dynamic to retrieve the data. As we see, a loop to get data.add row customer ID and order count. Then comes to set the annotation. The annotation here, I made a var view equal new google.visualization.data view. Then set columns 0. I will not set it as an annotation. I will set column 1 and column 2, which is order and ship count. They are string. These are my annotation. Comes here an very important issue also. I will ask about element ID, which is graph ID. If it has data value of bar 1, then I will display, I give an alert which appears every time of pi or bar. Get element by ID element dot get attribute of data value written in the tag of a graph ID, and the chart will be drawn in the element or graph ID. Once bar and the other bar. As you see here, to get this element and to switch between them, again I will repeat, the view contains 3 parts for that. First one is when I initialize chart type equal view data of parameters that comes from the controller. Of course, first it is null, but when I switch between the links at the left, it will once be 1 and once be 2, as it was in the layout. If you remember by the beginning of the video, it goes to home index once with value 1 and other with value 2. Chart type here takes once null, 1 or 2. Then we'll ask about chart type. If it is 1 or null or quotation, because viewback returns double quotation string, it will, if null, it will render once bar, and other for 2 it will render bar. That which executes this is the end of a script of drawGraph, which takes the attribute of the div, which one I am in now, which one I had from my controller, which view. Is that view bar 1, then draw bar 1 chart, or else draw pie chart. I think this is till now is clear, but we haven't filtered yet. Let us try to filter and see how this will be done. I will take, for example, first one, which has value of 6 and 3, and then press calculate. As we know, it will pass by the index, and if we switch to the index here, the script button 1 dot click, it will not get from the form the execution. It will go to the init graph, where it will execute through Ajax and go to home get data, as it went here to go home get data. Will execute and filter if I equal null. No, here IA equal the string I took from the form. It will go to the else variable filter customer. This is a list. I will filter the list of order list that has 88, as we said, count. We will not take first top 10, no, we will get only customer ID equals I.toString, which is the name of a customer I wrote. Here it distributes 6 and 3, as we said, for this customer. If we made it empty and return again to the bar chart, it will display the bar 1. See here, ID equal 1. Will display the bar chart, and we can switch between whatever this or that. But as I told before, it is meaningless to use pie chart here. Only it will take the first column. Another thing I want to highlight, we said about the stacked, but we didn't try yet. Let us change the stacked property to false, or to true, sorry. Index, it is found in the options here. This is stacked equal true, and try to run. I will run immediately. Control F5, no need for debug, only to show that it has changed. Thanks a lot for your time. I think this video has shown many topics about using views, about using partial views, and about using Google Charts with .NET Core, which is our main topic. I wish you to subscribe in my channel to make more videos, and I will repeat again that this project is given in the download link. You can download, and the database also. We prefer Google for its capabilities, big capabilities, and it is free, and found that it is very beneficial to use it with our project. Thanks a lot. Meet you in a well state and good health, and thanks for your time, and see you later. Goodbye. Good day.